embrace the magical side of life, where anything is possible and the infinite is accessible to all. Let's have a conscious conversation about what's going on in the world, in your life, and your relationship from the expanded perspective of your soul. The path to awareness begins and ends in the heart. So let's take it there, one step at a time, and learn to cultivate magic in your life every single day. In each episode, we share a collective space in which we discover the unique facets of our own magic and embody our superhuman qualities by humbly exploring how it's super simply to be human. Hosts Kai and Dell co-create a magical experience to remind you that you are magical as fuck. Now, be unleashed. This is our daily magic.
And we are live. Half my body is transparent right now. Is it me embodying both sides of me? My humanness is my spiritual nature. I am nothing, but then I'm something.
Nothing is a something.
Really?
Yeah.
Nothing is everything.
No something? Ooh, yeah. There we go. I made a new word. I said no something. But that's the perfect way to say everything. So, hello everyone. Welcome to another exciting, and it seems like it's gonna be a fun conversation as well, of our Daily Magic podcast. The intro said it. You all are magical, and what we love to do is have magical conversation with other magical beings who get to showcase their magic, so that way we can create a co-creative space to show the possibilities of what can happen when you unleash your magic. You also have your own unique gift to bring to the world. And these conversations, our intention of this is, one, to spread more magic in this conversation, for not only for myself and my wife to learn more about it, but for you to incorporate something from this that you can take and incorporate more magic into the world as well. So, like I said, I'm excited for this fun conversation. This will be an engaging conversation as well. So bring your questions, your comments, bring you fully into this, and this will be a very magical conversation. Let's get magical. So I am one half of Dell, and
I'm Kai, and I have the honor and the pleasure to introduce our very special guests, Dr. Madalina and Cris. A couple based in Seattle, are both international best-selling co-authors, certified coaches, and rising leaders in the heart intelligence space. Their heart reconnection journeys began following a turn of events of chronic pain and burnout. Guided to look beyond conventional living and Western medicine, they found themselves on their spiritual paths of self-discovery and healing. Through immersing themselves in the realms of consciousness, energy healing, and psychology, they discovered the untapped power of their hearts and began to experience profound change in every area of their lives, their health, relationships, and their careers. Today, with over 2 decades of combined experience in the field of personal and spiritual development, alongside Madalina's 17 plus years of experience as a leading cardiologist. Now that's interesting. They culminated everything into the HeartQ TM lifestyle. They teach this as a part of their mission to create a more connected, conscious, and loving world. And they do this by inspiring and guiding individuals to escape the stress and limitations of their mind and discover the vitality and freedom of their hearts through heart intelligence. Welcome.
Thank you,
Thank you.
guys. It's so great to be here and experience and co-create magic together.
I love that.
Yes, yes. So do you have a question or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
See, that's all. I want her to go first so before I get into it.
Smart man.
That's what I do.
I'll let ladies go first. So go right ahead, sweetie.
I mean, this is like super interesting. The intersection of the physical and the metaphysical. Like literally, you are a cardiologist, and speaking of heart intelligence, like what are the synchronicities that you found? Where are the overlaps in these areas? Like, what is the magic behind it all?
For me, to be honest, the magic is the journey, my own journey. And, up until 10 years ago, here I was, a busy and successful cardiologist. And on the outside, it seemed like I had it all. Here I am, thriving career, 2 beautiful girls, amazing husband, leader in all these things, speaking, on national conferences. And on the inside, I was really struggling on the inside. I went into medicine and cardiology because it was the calling of my heart. But then the whole experience of all of that felt like I was just living in a constant uphill struggle in survival. So I was sitting here, first of all, cardiology in medicine, it's like so crazy hard. It's like you have to sacrifice everything to go above and beyond, life emergencies, overwhelming stress, barely any sleep, and trying to like come home and be there for my kids and my husband. No energy for that. And time for me, like that doesn't exist for doctors. It's the opposite. The encouragement is sacrifice everything, no time for you. And that's considered to be the right way to heal others, right? And so that's what I was doing. And I felt like I was just running in this like treadmill, but somebody else had the pacing, like going higher and higher, and I had more and more pressures. And I was just running. I don't know where the hell I was running, putting out fires, going from one thing to the other, coming home, starting again. It seemed like insanity. Because it's so busy, there's no time to think and reflect and what's my life all about? And I was just living in like a robot, just living, like scheduling from one thing to the other, thinking the more I do, the happier I'm going to be. Like somehow, if I work harder and do more, it's going to all get better. And then for me, like that's kind of a snapshot of where I was before. I didn't know anything about consciousness, spirituality, and zero. Like somehow that did not come into my awareness until I had a big, huge thing that happened in my life that completely shifted my trajectory. But I'll pause here because I want to see, like maybe you want to share where you were at.
Up until that time, or around
we
that time.
Experienced the magic, because before the magic always comes for us came the breakdown, So you can share maybe where you were.
Well, you got to have a breakdown or to have a breakthrough, right? So, around that time for me was I was lost, to be honest. I was lost from so many points of view. Jumping from job to job, career to career, trying to find my place in this world. But essentially what I was trying to do is just trying to find myself, and all of that was because of my upbringing, which again, on the outside sounds magical and amazing, but there's always a dark side to everything, right? So I grew up in a diplomatic environment. So my dad was a diplomat, so I got to travel with him wherever he was stationed. And again, from the outside, it sounds absolutely amazing. But for me, it was very, very constrictive because I had to live by specific protocols, by specific ways of being. Everything was viewed through the lens of how does that look to the world, And so imagine a 3-year-old wanting to be free and expressive and loud and whatever I wanted to play, I couldn't. And I couldn't do that for years until ever, to be honest, because I was always told, no, you cannot do that because it will look bad on the family, it will look bad on the country. So it was confusing. It was confusing, but I learned that. I learned to I would say I learned to leave myself, to not be myself, and to kind of go into my mind and say, okay, how can I strategize? How can I meet everybody else's expectations so that I can be, loved, accepted, and all of that. And, fast forward in my, late teens and early adulthood, I was going through a very confusing time because I never knew what I wanted. I never got that chance to connect with myself. Always looking through that lens of what does everybody else want. What I realized, later on in retrospect, I had basically dimmed my heart's voice, my own authentic voice, to a level of imperceptible whisper. Now it did continue to whisper, and it did continue to lead me. I mean, it led me to you. It led me on this path where I am today. And that, to me, that is the magic, that transformation that I've undergone. But around that time of 10 years ago, when you had your breakthrough, that's kind of where I was.
Yeah. So that's where we were. And then I was just living in insanity, thinking this is normal. Like, I'm just going to keep living in this box of survival because this is all I knew. Because, I was just going like that, running forward, no time for anything else. I thought that was normal. And I was like, I better try to do a better job in this box that I'm living in, right? And then, of course, life has a way of bringing us back. The way that I kept myself going in this box is that I used to run. So I would just run. In many ways, running was my way to not face me. It was running away from myself, from my emotions, from myself. And I would just run. That's how I did it. And so one day when I went running, I had an injury. And all of a sudden, I developed severe back pain. I couldn't walk. I limped home. And for the next year, I spent trying to, in the Western medicine, figure out why can I not run? Why can't I exercise? Because exercise is what kept me going. I went to the best experts in medicine and everything in this field. And everybody would be like, yeah, there's nothing going on. I was like, am I crazy? Am I just, what is happening here? What is going on? I was angry and frustrated. Why can't I control my reality and my outcome? Why isn't the things that I've done working, and these patterns that I was functioning from, workaholism and overachiever and perfectionism and self-denier, all of that controlling wasn't working for me anymore. It brought me up against the wall. And so, and not to mention all the feelings that I had been suppressing that I just never had time for, my busy life, they all came flooding like an avalanche. And I was just I didn't even know what to do with them. I was I was not equipped, in medical school, that's not even, there's no time for that. So I was what the heck is going on here? So what came from a little pain evolved into this big pain, this burnout crisis. And then it really kind of evolved into an inner crisis, because I started with all of this, was the last thread for me where, I just broke down. I didn't understand why. I was so confused. I was so depressed. I was so anxious. I was so unhappy. And I had no idea what the heck was going on. And then little did I know that was the way of my soul calling me back to me. I had to, it's kind of like life saying, this woman is not getting it. She's just running faster. And what she needs to do is to stop. So since I wasn't getting all the clues from the universe, from my soul, it's my body worked together with my soul and stopped me. I could stop running in that madness in the box of my mind and start being, So somehow after 1 year of no answers in the Western world, I got this book by Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. And, Wayne Dyer, somehow I was and I was just reading. I started reading. I was what? I started, what? This is possible. This is possible. And I was just completely not known to me. And I just, this passion that I have for outside and the focus that I had been externally driven, I brought it all inside, and then all of a sudden I just wanted to go so deep inside me and to understand who am I? What is the point of life? What is the magic of life? Why am I living in this world and realm of suffering? What really is this all about? So that's kind of how my journey, happened, where I started turning all the lights on inside and becoming present and aware of, oh, I've been living my life in a box, in my head. Name of the game is survival, coming from all kinds of programmed, conditioned, automatic patterns, limiting beliefs and stories and unhealed wounds. And I have no idea. And it's all puppeting me from behind. And I had no idea. And there I was running. And then when I turned the lights on and I said, hell no, like, what is the point of this? So what else is there in life? Like, what if that, like, that's not what I want to be. That's not powerful to me. That's not living life big. That's not really what I'm here for. So then I was like, well, what is it? So then all these rounds and workshops and experiences, like we did in all the realms that are out there, because there was no, we just tried everything because we got so hungry for ourselves, really. And then, I came to realize, oh my God, I am such a deeper presence of my heart, of my power, of the wholeness. And so long as I'm here, I'll never be enough. I'll never be happy. I'll never see magic. I'll just be stuck in the box trying to survive. And so then it was kind of this process of really coming into my heart and, feeling, remembering, and experiencing the magic that I had disconnected from. And of course, along the way, healing wounds that I hadn't even known that I had, because I was like, no time for that. And how all of those had been serving as walls around my heart that closed my heart from myself and from the whole world. And then I realized, oh my God, as a doctor, a cardiologist, this is like, what I was doing just didn't seem meaningful to me anymore. Just putting, here's a pill, go to that procedure. I mean, it's amazing. We're saving lives, of course, but there was a deeper healing that humanity needs that is related to the light in their soul and their heart. And that's where the healing can really happen. And so that's then, we kind of got on this path together, putting everything that we've learned, all of our experiences in all the realms of consciousness, meditation, spirituality, psychology, everything, energy healing, and like really supporting others to ignite their own heart and to reconnect to the truth and the soul that they are. And so that's really the magic of the journey and of my life, and for you as well. I don't know if you have anything.
Well, I mean, meanwhile, while she's going through her journey of healing and physical healing, and also healing her own wounds, first of all, I was feeling helpless because, again, for 1 year, from expert to expert, nothing was happening, and I feel like I couldn't help her in any way. There was nothing that I could do to help her, so I felt bad about that. And then when she started reading, it started with the Louise Hay book, but then it continued through other books and other programs and things like that. It was interesting because every time she would immerse herself in these type of consciousness books, the pain would subside. So to me, there was this part of me that was saying, oh, thank God, something is working. I'm happy that at least she doesn't have pain anymore. But then something more was happening, where she started changing. She started viewing life differently. She started interacting with me differently, with the girl, with our daughters, and just with everyone in our sphere. And then I was like, oh, hell no. Well, hold on a second. What's going on here? Because she's obviously doing something that, I need to look more into. So I asked her, and she said, well, why don't you start with this book? So she gave me the same book. And that for me was also the breakthrough, because for me, it was, as I was reading, I was realizing, oh, I have all these things that I never paid attention to. All these things like that you're sharing as well, all these unconscious patterns that are just, I've been conditioned to view life through. They're just puppeting me, and I have no control over them. It really felt like I had no control. And, just, one book after another, hundreds of books later, experiences, programs, so many things, men's programs, a few, Hoffman process. Oh my gosh, we've done so many things. It all kind of culminated. I mean, the thing is that at one point we looked at our life, because our friends were looking at us and saying, okay, hold on one second. What are you guys doing? You're obviously doing something. What is that you're doing? So we started getting these questions. So then we started looking more consciously at our journey and saying, okay, what have we been doing? You know, let's codify this. Let's look back and say, okay, let's retrace our steps, and let's, you know, bring out those pearls, those magic pearls, and then let's kind of put them together. And that's how we've created the, you know, the HeartQ that we have right now and everything that we are bringing to the world. Yeah. It's been magical.
Yeah, I love it. And it's like a mirror reality that's going on right now of the same thing with us, of trying so many things out. But the essence behind it was being committed to actually shifting what's going on inside of you to heal, but also it's possible for you to heal and you're willing to do what's necessary to address that. And the cool thing about that is when you make that decision, there's an abundance of things to try out there. And I'm curious for you, because this is what happened in my journey of my healing process, was I would try something out. It started to work. It was working. It was great. But then it came to this point and it didn't resonate with me anymore. But then I felt guilty to let go of it because of the fact, like, oh, this thing was working. Maybe I'm doing this wrong and stuff like that. And then I was holding on to it way more longer than I need to. And so inevitably the universe was like, you gotta let this thing go. And the universe forced me to let it go. So did that happen to you guys in your own journey as well?
Oh my God, so much. I mean, that's the thing, like we're always evolving, and like the more we're like unlayering and the more we're like healing, now universe is like, great, congratulations. Now you're ready for the next level. Yeah. And you're like, what the heck? I thought I worked on that. And I thought I did all of that. And the universe is like, nope, you're ready for the deeper level. You know, I had the same experience. And I think in the end, like through the journey, what I realized is like to really feel, become more present into the feeling, into what is it that my heart is telling me or saying to me, like really listening and tuning in and receiving, okay, what am I here for? Instead of like the mind saying, you got to do this and this and this, it's more like, okay, what is it right now that's for me, you know? And it was a huge evolution. I mean, that happens over as we are unlayering and also connecting and expanding into the fullness of our light, you know? And for me, one of the other things that was just interesting, because I have like one foot into the medicine and one foot into the spirituality. And for a while, I used to separate them, or I used to like be a closet, like spiritual person and not tell anyone. And I did that for years. I was like, they're going to think I'm weird. We did all this energy healing and CAP, Kundalini, like we did all this stuff. And I was like, my colleagues are going to be thinking I'm crazy. So for like years, you know, I would just like hide it. And then we had friends are like, what are you doing? What do you want to be by yourself all the time? Because the more we're growing and evolving, the more you want to be in your own essence to really become in the rhythm of who am I, the rhythm of your soul, and not the rhythm of the matrix, you know? So all of this stuff was like happening. And then I realized at one point, it's like my heart said, okay, you're ready. It's time. You're ready to be yourself and bring everything out and speak and connect and radiate all of it. And so then I just went out into my colleagues' work and medicine and patients, and I just started bringing it all out authentically and like in that powerful way. You know, this is where it's a blend. It's not one or the other. It's an end. It's an end. You know, it's a beautiful union, you know, of all these facets and dimensions that is available to us. It's not just because a lot of times I feel like in the West, the medicine, like the science, oh, you know, all those spiritual people, woo woo, you know, they get into this like, you know, and then sometimes I went all the way in the spiritual, like all these, you know, thinking, mental, you know, science. It's like I was experiencing, and for me, I was like, well, it's actually both. It's harmonization. It's not one or, you know. So like even when I interact, you know, with our clients and with patients, it's really about bringing both. Okay, now we address the very physical stuff. Now let's go deeper. What's really here for you? What's really calling you? What is a deeper healing that you're ready for? You know, so that's kind of how we, you know, I do it personally.
I love what you said. And you know, Dell, thank you so much for that question, because it invites so much opening. Because, so yes, first of all, yes, same experience. We've done so many things. And then of course, it's not just about the the knowledge and the experience that you gain from that. But it's also, it's an investment. It's an investment of time. It's an investment of money in everything, right? So, we've learned that every investment has to have a return, right? So we're looking at that and saying, okay, well, your heart is saying, okay, it's ready to evolve. But what we're saying, no. I should be getting more out of this. I should be squeezing it more. I should be practicing this more. I should be doing this and I should be doing that, right? And on the surface level, we say to ourselves, we should be doing that for this reason, that we should be getting more out of our investment, so to speak, right? But honestly, beneath that, there is something else going on, which is, again, our subconscious coming from behind. And that is the conditioning to rest on what's comfortable because it's safe. When we do a practice, we learn something new or a skill, whatever that is, we become so good at it that it becomes easy. It's comfortable. And so to go beyond that, it's uncomfortable. Now we have to learn a new skill, or we think that it's expansion. And so just that conscious effort, not even an effort, conscious choice to say, okay, you know what, this has been on my journey, this skill and my life have intersected, and we've weaved our path together. Now, it doesn't mean that if I go on and do something different or something else, whatever I have done so far is not with me anymore. That is always going to be with me. Everything that I have, all the courses that I've went to and all the skills that I have learned over the years, they are inside of me. I even today, working on some programs that I've been working on, I'm noticing, oh yeah, this comes from a program that I've done like 5 years ago, right? It's always inside of me. But to me, it's about this conscious decision, conscious choice to always say, what else can I expand myself into? And to me, it's also, for me, it's layers. It's layers, okay? That's one layer. Because as I expand myself into something more, then the question to me becomes, how am I going to expand more into more of me by doing that other thing, by doing the next thing? Right? It's not an expansion outwards, but it's an expansion inwards into our own vastness, which again, it's infinite. I don't even know what I'm capable of. I know what I know, but I don't know what I'm capable of. Mm-hmm. So always expanding, always, moving forward. To me, that's magical.
We've got a few comments as well. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah. Well, first, hey, Danny. Danny's one of our close friends. Also, one of the ways that we experiment with collecting a consciousness with psychedelics. So that's a psychedelic sign. So,
oh, yes.
We also have another person here, Danica. Hey, Danica. So Danica says, Dr. P, despite being a doctor, I am glad you can see humanity, soul, light of people, not only the physical aspects, labs.
Diagnosis.
Okay, thank you. It's so important in healing, treating a person holistically. And then she asked a question. What is the title of the book that changed you that Dr. Prescu introduced to Cris? Here we go.
Gosh, there's so many books.
Right. Well, the very first one, if that's the one that she means, is How to Heal Your Life, or
You Can Heal Your
You
Life.
Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. Okay, that's the first one. But then there are,
so many.
The School for Gods. Oh my gosh, there's so many.
Untethered Soul.
Untethered Soul. Yeah.
Yeah. There's like Eckhart Tolle. The Power of Now. Like so many, right? And to be honest, it's exactly what happened, because in medicine, the way that the training happens is that all the attention is going to the physical. This is what you need to do to fix the person, to fix like these kind of band-aids that are put on the outside, and then people go on to the same life that they're going to. And they're, of course, in the hospitals, they give you like such a short time to see patients. And so And then of course, how can people see, doctors or just in general in medicine, see the light of souls of the other if they have not experienced the soul in themselves? And in medicine, it's really interesting because the way the paradigm is that there's no time. Actually, if you make time for yourself, you're considered lazy and like frivolous, like you're not part of the team. What are you doing? Get back to work, So anytime that is like for you to connect with your soul, things like that, that's actually looked down upon. So yeah, I think that a new paradigm is needed in medicine, to be honest, in general. And I have a very holistic approach when I see patients. I everything is connected, the physical, the emotional, the spiritual, the mental, everything is connected, is my, philosophy. And interestingly, what made me so fascinated is that besides the pain that I had with the back pain, which it was a back pain, hip pain, plantar fasciitis, and I had other things, recurrent pneumonias, bronchitis, UTIs, GI, GERD. I had it all. And I was just like trying to take pills and just get on with it, right? And what was interesting is that when I just stopped taking the medicines and I started like doing all this work and really connecting with my heart, living from the state of coherence, healing happened on its own. I just kind of like, I was like, wow, I realized I haven't had bronchitis or pneumonia. I used to get them like every 3 weeks. It just kind of went away. Everything went away. The back pain went away. Everything just went away. And it got me really curious. What's going on in here? To the scientist that I used to be, it didn't make any sense because it will not make sense to the mind, because the mind only knows what it knows. It doesn't know the infinite potential that is available to us from the universe when we're connected to the field. There's no way the mind can ever comprehend that. And so that was to me what got me so curious to experience more.
I always think that it's so amazing when you come up with these stories. Her patients come to her, and again, cardiologists. So these are serious problems, right? Serious health problems. Heart. So, and most of them are on so many medications and needing so many procedures and so on and so forth. And, I love the fact that you feel into your patients, and, the ones that are more open to going beyond the pill. Sometimes, patients, and you can speak more to this, but sometimes patients just come and say, no, I don't care about anything. Just give me the pill. I'm out of here. Right. That's fine. But there are people that also, they want more, they're ready for more. Right. And so, how many people have you introduced to a lifestyle, right? A different lifestyle, and gotten them off how many medications and healed them that way?
I try to get people off medications. I have just a different approach because there's, the medicine is like the last thing to add, but there's so much there that is available that can be tapped into before you get to the med. Now, if somebody's having a heart attack, obviously go get the vessel opened up. I'm not going to stay here and let's try these things, but I'm speaking in general, like the predominance of like hypertension, diabetes, high cholesterol. There's other possibilities for healing there that are available. So I like to unify it. And Cris is right. When I meet patients, I feel them. I use my intuition. I use my heart intelligence, and I feel into them. What are they open for? Because you have to be open. If I could give everything, but if the person's closed, it doesn't matter. So it's like how open are people to receive, to want to grow and to evolve. And sometimes I just put seeds. I just plant some seeds, and then later on they come back. Oh yeah, when you said that, so it takes time. Growth takes time, like a plant. It just doesn't grow overnight, right?
It's to us, it's a lifestyle. A lot of times, or at least for me personally, when I first started on this my own personal development journey, my own spiritual development journey, I was looking for an outcome, right? And so I was wanting to get the fastest and the quickest way to that outcome. I was looking for that quick fix, pill, whatever. But then I realized like this doesn't happen that way. I think it was Meister Eckhart, this Christian mystic, a long time ago. He said that, and I'm paraphrasing, but basically he said that awareness or awakening happens in a moment, can happen in a moment, right? But then the process of deconditioning is a lifestyle, is a lifelong process, right? Right. So that's why, there's no quick fixes to anything. It's just a matter of choosing the life a lifestyle that is supporting you, your own healing, whether it's, physical, psychological, spiritual, any of that. And to us is what we've come to realize, is that it is through, connecting with our heart and connecting to our, feeling heart, our spiritual heart. That's our journey anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that as well, in regards to what you said of it being a journey and not a quick fix, especially with external society of having all these quick fixes for stuff, like get this quick lipo or take this quick pill to lose weight so fast. And it was a journey to gain the weight, and also it's a journey to lose it as well. But I love what was mentioned in regards to the deeper aspects, not just like with the pill, like, here, take this pill type of thing, but addressing the deep rooted stuff, because no matter what, you get the quick fix. If you still have that eternal stuff going on, you're just going to go right back into what's going on in your inner world.
Right. That's so true. And again, you can speak more today because, you see patients, so you are in that, but with anything in life, right? You do a quick fix, you put a Band-Aid on something. Yes, you fix it in the moment, but then it comes back, right? Because nothing will change until you change, right? And I love Jim Rohn's quote or teaching or whatever, right? It's not about getting the outcome. It's about who do you become in trying to achieve your outcome, right? So yeah, if you take a quick pill or a Band-Aid or whatever it is just to get your result, sure, that works. But you're still the same person. You're going to create the same reality until you go inside of yourself and start living what we say a heart-centered life, and you really change. You make this a lifestyle. Then nothing else will change on the outside. I feel like you want to say something.
Yeah, no, I think what you said was really powerful. And, this whole journey that we are on, everything, to be honest, when I see patients, it's really a calling back to who you really are. And everything that we're doing at the end of the day, we're not trying to become someone else, it's really becoming more of who we really are and less of who we are not, that we got conditioned into believing we are, like unlearning all those things related to the not enoughness and all of those inner voids, and then becoming more present and feeling more of who we really are. And then of course, embracing our humanity, because we can't just live in this one place where the light and the universe, and then we have our humanity now. So it's like, okay, now we have all these parts of ourselves we're going to hold space for. But for me, like when I see patients and just all people in general, especially when something happens to the heart, it's like such a loud and clear message of the heart calling people back, calling you back to yourself. And that's what happened to me. I was running completely opposite the direction of myself. And all these patterns that I had were like suppressing me. They were suppressing my light, thinking I'm safe. And then it was really, so whatever that thing is happening with the heart problem, it's really a calling back to yourself. And that is the journey. And it's the journey that we're talking about, which is the unlayering, the realizing, oh, where am I living life from? Oh, where is the source of my power, my truth, my love, and my purpose? It's not over here. It's not in the external matrix. It's not in the should and the standards, which is just me leaving me, but it's in the fullness and the wholeness and the love of my heart, coming back to myself. When people are in that space of the heart and they're living life as an expression of their truth and vitality and wholeness, now they're showing up to life a whole lot different than when they're in the illusion of the ego, of that inner hole, trying to fill up from the outside into the inside. It's a completely different life experience. And one leads you into madness and stress, and the other one leads you into love and vitality, purpose, alignment, truth. So that's really the power. It's really that, and it takes a journey for this to happen.
That's the thing, the journey, and also work. It takes work to get it done, but then also it takes work to hold on to a pattern as well.
It does.
It does.
I feel like it takes more work to hold on to patterns and suppress stuff, because you got to find more and more and more things to numb and suppress it, as opposed to the work that it takes to start releasing stuff, because it's a natural thing that, oh, I'm trying to help you to release the stuff inside of you. Like that's what the universe is trying to do for you. So it takes more to like fight against it. That's what I feel.
It's so true, but it's so funny why is humanity doing the opposite until like you wake up, until you realize, oh wait, I'm just making it hard, but actually if I'm in my heart and I'm seeing the purity and the truth, it's much easier. But it is difficult too, like you say, because we're working against, all of these patterns and all this stuff is like there's a stress energy. And we all know that force, that energy that wants to hijack you and keep you on that same place that you're at. There's an energy to that. There's a force to that. That's why, addictions are so strong. And that's why patterns are so strong. And there's a lot of healing. Without healing the wounds, it will continue to happen, But that's to me the power of that connection to our soul, to our heart, to the fullness of who we are. And the more we can connect there, the more we can be present to the truth and make the right choices for ourselves.
Yeah. And Dell, I really want to say, I want to emphasize, I really love what you said, because it's so true. The fact that it's about releasing. What I found for myself, I can speak for myself. What I found is that in my journey of my own personal development, spiritual development, all of this that I've been on, what I've done was that to say, okay, I brought awareness to the way that I have been conditioned to be. Okay, I got to that point of awareness. Great. Now I'm saying, I don't like that. I don't want this. This is not how I want to be or live my life. Great. How should I be? Right? I'm looking outside to say, what would be those ways of being? And what did I do? I went on and I said, okay, this is the way to be. I should, add this on top of me. It's more like adding more and more masks. I'm going to give you an example, which, if you are familiar with the, Mankind Project, and it uses Jungian philosophy, right? So it's the archetypes, right? The king energy, the warrior, the lover, and the magician. And so when I first went through that process, I came back and I said, oh, I love the king energy, or I love the warrior energy. Amazing. I'm going to adopt that. I'm going to put that on top of me, on top of who I was at that point. And then the thing is that it takes so much effort to maintain who I was, and I didn't like, and then to maintain also the other layers that I was putting on top. Later on, what I've come to realize is that it's not about adding more and more layers, because that just takes all our energy away. It's about unlayering. It's about unlayering. And the way that we do that, like you said, to release, the way that we do that in our life is simply through feeling. And that is something, especially for men, I have been taught to never, ever show my emotion, because it's weakness. Never cry, never do any of that stuff. But that is the body's, instinctive way of releasing emotions. So I suppressed a lot through my life, right? Mm-hmm. And when I started to see the benefits of like, oh, hold on one second, let me feel. Like, I don't have to, there are steps, of course, but let me feel first. How does that feel for me to experience the feeling, not the emotion? We're separating we're distinguishing between the feeling and the emotion. Emotion to us is feeling plus story. Okay. Why am I feeling this? Oh, it's because of this and all the story. So we're not focusing on the emotion. We're focusing on feeling the feeling, how it feels. And then for me, the next step was, now I'm going to become available, meaning I'm going to share my feeling. For many, many years, one of the reasons, to be honest, why our relationship was still kind of trying to fit in, with each other, was because personally, I wasn't sharing myself with her. I wasn't being fully honest. I wasn't being honest with myself, and therefore I wasn't being honest with her. And so when I was, sharing myself, and look, this is what I feel. It's not about you. This is me right now. What I'm unlayering right now. magic happened. I couldn't believe, because I was taught, like, never show this part of you, like, never. But then when I open myself up and I experienced something different, our relationship just went to a whole new magical level, to be honest. So anyway, just I really feel that there is this misconception about putting on layers, but it's all about unlayering, getting to your core self.
Thank you. That's a perfect way of explaining it as well. And also, like, piling on all the different stuff, because there are abundant things going out there. Hey, do this. Hey, do this. Hey, do this. I see it all the time on there. Like, this is what masculinity is supposed to be like.
Right.
This is what femininity is supposed to be like. Tap into your sacred feminine this way. Tap into, like, really? Like, it doesn't resonate with me. Like, and I tried that stuff, and the same thing happened. Like, it was like, I'm putting on this different stuff for how other people tell me I'm supposed to be, as opposed to going in and really honing in with myself of who I want to be, what resonates with me. And you made a great point in regards to the conditioning out there about men, about not showing emotions, but then simultaneously you're showing your emotions and what you're going through anyway by the way that you're acting. So you know what's going on, but it's okay to not be okay. But you become a volcano, and eventually the volcano erupts with emotions, and you can do stuff in a healthier manner with it. But then another thing too, and this is just my hypothesis about this thing. The only person who tells you it's not okay to feel emotions are people who are not feeling their emotions. Because when someone feels their emotion, they can have compassion for you for going through your emotions. So for those of you out there, stop taking the bullshit theory from people who are not feeling their emotions that you're not supposed to feel your emotions, because I guarantee you those people are pretty miserable because they're like suppressing all this stuff in them that wants to be released, and all this stuff is going on. So if you want peace, find what resonates with you and stop listening to the bullshit of people who are not processing their emotions. Okay, I'm done. Vent's over.
No, I think that's so powerful, because like what you said, like in passing, is so incredibly powerful. Okay, like when people are not feeling their feelings and expressing their emotion, what's happening is that those are being stored as, and then become expressed unconsciously as reactivity. So like if I'm, and we learned this in our relationship too, if I'm not owning my feelings, then unconsciously I'm going to vomit them on him. So it really is like that. When we are not owning and feeling and going through and doing our healing and our wounds and our awareness, all of that, it's just going to be it's going to be stored in that place where we're reacting. When people are reacting and angry outbursts and triggers and victimization and blame, that it's coming out anyway. So you might as well do it the healthy way instead of the unhealthy way, which only hurts you because you're now in the stress pathway, creating cortisol and disease, and hurting others, like your loved ones. Like here you are saying, I love you, but then you're reacting to them, and then just even in the world, like we're just bringing unleashing more of that unhealthy kind of energy. That's not healthy for us. So it's like so much more simpler to just feel. And it's also so true, because when he's sharing, when we're feeling each other, how can I judge him? How can I it's not even possible. When we actually, as human beings, feel each other, it's not, I don't see, feeling pretty much takes away that whole judgment that happens in the mind. Because when you're feeling that person crying and suffering and expressing, our heart is opening, and we're going, we have compassion, we're caring. And that's how people can really connect together. It's by opening our heart, not by closing it and going to the head and judging, criticizing, blaming. It's really that simple. It's just mind makes it harder. It's just feeling each other and expressing our feelings. So true.
Yeah. And I'm just going to add one more piece, especially for men, because, it's this idea that, and it's true. I mean, part of masculine energy is courage, right? Is to have that courage. And we've learned, or we've tricked ourselves, let's just put it that way, into believing that courage means jumping out of an airplane or doing something that others cannot do. I challenge any man. Hey, feel what you truly feel, and then share it with your partner. See how much courage you need for that. Or some with, or even with a stranger. I mean, with a partner is easy, right? Because we're right here. And for us, our relationship has been probably the biggest catalyst of growth. It taught us to move from this, from reactive to reflective, right? From reflexive to reflective, to because our when we get triggered, our energy, our nervous system gets energized, gets activated, right? And so we tend to react, and it's very reflexive. But in those moments, how would it be to just stop and know that whatever whatever I do from this point on, I'm going to co-create with my partner or whoever, right? And say, what do I choose to create? What kind of a experience do I want to have? And so just take a step back. What we call this taking a heart pause, right? Where you actually breathe, take a moment for yourself to breathe, and then go through a set of, hey, first of all, realize, yes, everything you do, you're co-creating. So that's a given. So then take personal responsibility and say, okay, what am I bringing to the table right now? What is my responsibility, right? And then choose. Simple. It's so simple. We tend to make things so complicated. It's simple. Choose something different, but choose it from your heart. Ask yourself, like, where is the honest part of me? What do I truly want to create? Yes, of course, I'm angry and I'm upset and I'm do all this and she did this and she didn't do that, whatever. But really, what are you bringing to the table, right? So what do you want to create? What do you want to create? To us, it's like, what do I want to create inside of you, right? What do I want her to feel? Because that's just going to be reflected back to me. Anyway, but yeah, that came up.
I'm about to keep going. You're hitting some really great points right there, especially in regards to the trigger. So easy to say that you're the reason why I'm triggered. And it's like, is it really? I mean, the person may be doing something, but where's the trigger coming from? Is the trigger outside of you? Is the trigger going on outside?
Yeah, no, it all comes from inside. It's something that it's a wound that you haven't healed, and it gets activated. Okay, I was gonna share a story that just came to me right now. I can't believe I completely forgot this.
Which one?
So a few years ago, we were, and just really to show how our life experience creates a wound inside of us, that it gets encoded in our nervous system, and then it comes out reflexive at the most inopportune times. So a few years ago, we were flying back from, I don't know, vacation or something, and we had seats, her and I, the two of us, and then behind us, our kids. And I was very tired, and I said, I'm gonna just close my eyes and kind of take a nap. And you were reading at that time, and one of our daughters in the back kept bothering her, kept asking questions like, okay, what about this? And she just also wanted to meditate and read and do all these things. And at one point, you responded to her, but a little bit louder, right? And that woke me up. I could not believe how triggered I was. To me, in my mind, my story was, you woke me up. And you created all these feelings that I had, like, oh my God, the trigger was so high. And I was blaming her full on. And I said, okay, this is me. This is inside of me. I'm not going to share anything with her, because what's the point? She's just going to become defensive and go into all of this. So I'm not going to say anything. Rather, I'm going to go through my own practices that I usually do to calm my nervous system down and come back into my heart. I spent an hour on the flight doing everything that I knew, and nothing worked. Nothing. And so then at one point, she turned to me and she's like, hey, I kind of noticed your energy changed. I'm like, no shit. Like, I'm like, you woke me up, So, and then as soon as I said that, after 1 hour of trying all this, and as soon as I said that, a memory came to mind. When I was a kid growing up, my mother had this way of waking me up where she would burst in the room. She might as well have some pots and pans banging. And that's how I woke up. So my nervous system was activated from the moment I woke up, and that happened to me for years. So then when she woke me up, that's what happened, right? But that was inside of me. She didn't do anything. She just kind of, said something. Interestingly, the moment I realized that, the moment I brought awareness to this memory, everything went away. Everything went away because, in my attitude of taking personal responsibility, I realized that from this moment of awareness, anything else that follows is a choice. Okay, I get it. Before that, maybe I wasn't, I didn't know what was happening. My nervous system was activated and I didn't know why. So whatever. But from the point of awareness, everything is a choice. And just knowing that it's my responsibility, it's mine, it's inside of me, and she didn't do anything, dissipated everything.
Yeah, I think it's so powerful that until we know it's a choice, it's not a choice.
That's true.
It's just, the mind, these whole triggers that are happening, I think is really the cause of so much disease and problems and war. War outside is war inside. It creates a war battle zone, flushing you with cortisol and adrenaline. You're in a state of war all the time. Imagine how much emotional reactivity. But what's really interesting is, especially in relationships, of all kinds, whatever relationships, child, parent, couples, when people are going into triggers and they're reacting from that level, like they're no longer in their conscious higher self. They're like in the child level. It's like one temper tantrum and the other temper tantrum, and it's just blaming and giving the power away. And you pretty much, that's
two children.
It's like two children, yeah. And so it's so much more. Again, it feels strong because like what he just said right now. I remember that episode. I was like, geez, what's going on with him? I'm like, that's his thing. Like I'm observing where he was at, and he was struggling in something. And it takes, when you're in that energy, your wound inside wants to blame someone for what you're feeling, is looking out. Who am I going to blame what I'm feeling? Because it's easier that way. It's so much easier that way. And when people are starting to doing that with each other, it's actually, unfortunately, we're just becoming victims, giving our power away. We're not owning all the things, we're not growing, we're not owning it. And so, for you, that was a great opportunity to say, wow, I need to heal that. That's still traumatizing me. That's a form of trauma that is still happening. And so, this is so important. I think in relationships, we don't realize when we marry, we're not just marrying each other in the present, we're marrying the past, the experiences, the wounds, the parents, the generational traumas, where it's all of it. It's like you have no idea that what you're getting yourself into. It's like, I love you. And then, and that's, I think, the cause of a lot of the, divorces and problems out there, is because people are like, what the heck is going on? It's just coming like a storm because it's so unconscious until it's conscious, until you realize, wait, I have a choice now how I'm going to respond. I don't need to react. It's a choice.
Well, like Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life, and you'll call it fate. Right? It's really as simple as that. And we tend to make things so complicated, but really, it's just about bringing awareness. Like, okay, who am I? I love this question. Who am I? What have I been conditioned to be? And of course, I one thing that actually shifted tremendously things for me was the lens of well, I call it the lens of judgment, but basically moving from looking at myself and my life experiences, past, present, and looking forward, of course, through the lens of good and bad, right or wrong. Stopping doing that, looking through that lens, has shifted my life tremendously. Now I look at life as, is it empowering or disempowering? Is it inspiring or uninspiring? Right? So everything that I do to, my kids could make a mistake. Okay, I could tell them, you were wrong. You were wrong to do that. But really, were they really wrong? Making a mistake is not, you're not wrong. So then I have to catch myself and say, okay, hold on one second. What would be the empowering way right now, or the empowering thing to say? How can I inspire them right now? And
the other thing is, like, the lens that we're looking through. Where am I looking from? Is it coming from my wound? Is it coming from my ego, from my
Mhm.
mind, or is it coming from my heart?
Mhm.
Because everything that we see is based on which part of us we're looking from,
Mhm.
like that. And is it true? Because those wounds and those stories, they feel they feel real. They feel like, but they're not true. So then is it really true? Is what I'm saying like, oh, here I am hearing myself saying all this. Oh, that's BS right now. There's my story telling me that I'm not good enough. There's my story. Like just having that like awareness of non-judgment awareness. I think that the judgment is what prevents us from growth, because then we're like in awareness hell. We're aware of everything, and then we're judging ourselves. It's like awareness hell. That's where people get stuck a little bit. I've noticed. You come out of the awareness hell and say, I'm just a human being. I'm doing my best. I'm going to have compassion. All of a sudden, the opening starts to happen, and you become more into yourself. And
well, to me, and it's the willingness to be wrong, right?
Yep.
The willingness to be wrong, to realize that I was not, I don't know what I don't know. So I could be wrong about a lot of things. I could be wrong about myself, right?
When you're coming from the mind.
Right, when you're coming from the mind, right? But, when you drop into your heart, you start to listen to a whole different voice. Yeah.
That's amazing what you're saying about blame as well, how it creates a temporary sense of relief, which also explains the medical field. People are really looking, when they're struggling, they're looking for pain relief as opposed to healing. And blame can be that pain relief as opposed to actually healing that wound. I love the the implications that go across the metaphysical and the physical realms, and you both really brought all of your knowledge and wisdom to this conversation. So thank you.
Thank you for creating this space, holding us in this space.
We have a lot of love here as well to share. Danica said, thank you.
Thank you.
Untethered Soul is one of my favorites. Yep, I am a nurse.
Amazing.
That's amazing. That's wonderful.
Yeah. Oh, Danny said, who tells you guys these things? The old generation, they're on their way out. Yeah. There's a conscious shift going on. And as you can see, a lot of people are starting to do that work necessary. But then like that question of asking, like, who am I? Why am I the way that I am right now? And willing to start to take a look at the way that they're being now to get to the root reason for the conditioning, but also to start the healing process of healing those wounds. So there's a shift happening. Obviously, some people want to stay on that ship, the old conditioning, but life is getting way too higher vibrational to resonate with the old way of doing stuff. And hello, Facebook user. Love. Amen.
Amazing.
I love it.
Just one more quick point. You mentioned, who am I, right? And this is a question that we always ask ourselves. The immediate answer to the question might be, well, I am Cris. I am, someone who is doing this. This is what I do. This, whatever. All these attributes, right? We both actually been to this silent retreat. It's called Hridaya and it's really powerful.
Hridaya Sanskrit means heart.
Yeah. And the
10 days.
Silence. 10 days of silence. Yeah, it was not enough. But the question that arose by asking, who am I, was, who am I, asking the question, who am I? And that removes all the layers. That removes all the layers that we have been conditioned in this, in this 3D world that we are, we've learned along our life, So, yeah.
Yeah, the meditation retreat is a 10-day silent retreat to really feel the who am I? That was really the whole point, is the feeling, away from all the people and things that remind you of who you thought you were, and to just really be with all of you in the silence of your own sanctuary, and to receive. And it's a journey. It was not, we meditate a lot, and that was one of the toughest things I have ever done.
That takes courage to do that, to sit with yourself for
halfway
10
through
days.
I'm like, I'm getting the heck out of here. Halfway through, and then I was like, oh, what's coming up? Like things are going to come up that we unconsciously block, that I was unconsciously blocked. I thought, oh, I've dealt with so much stuff, and then I go there and I'm like, whoa, there's so much more, because it's not just me and us, it's so much that belongs to familial lineage and past lives. There's so much there. And when the universe sees you're ready, it's going to give it to you. You're only given what you can handle.
Yes.
And whatever we are given, it means we are ready to handle it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be given to us. Yeah. Look it up. Hridaya.
Do more than looking it up. Go there. It's
totally go.
Life-changing.
It's amazing.
Yes.
Thank you again. This has been an illuminating conversation in so many ways.
Thank you.
And where can people find you if they'd, like to speak with you or hear you speak? Where can they reach you?
So we've made it really simple. HeartQ.com. So HeartQ.com. HeartQ, by the way, we have IQ, EQ, HeartQ, heart intelligence.
I love that.
Yeah. So HeartQ.com, and that's where we have everything. Our programs. A way to, that's it. A way to get in contact with us for one-on-one coaching, for example, or
Unleash Your Heart program.
Unleash Your Heart program.
Meditations, portals into the heart. One-on-one, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, so we're hanging out there if anybody wants to reconnect to the fullness of their heart. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I must say, this was an amazing conversation. It was a heart-led conversation, I would say.
Yes.
The best kind of leading.
Definitely. Thank you both for just sharing your magic, and also for those of you here for the comments and those who are listening. Thank you for being here as well. This conversation wouldn't have been as magical without each and every one of you here. We love each and every one of you, and we appreciate you. And one thing from this, just think about this. What is one powerful lesson from this conversation that you can take to not only connect to your heart, but then also to bring more magic into the world? There's going to be a lot of stuff for me to contemplate from this conversation. So thank you once again. I love you guys. Keep doing what you're doing. You're making a major difference in the world and helping people to get back home.
Thank you, Kai and Dell, for creating this space and for holding the space and for the magic that you guys put into the world on a daily basis.
The magic keepers.
Yes. I love that.
Yeah, right?
I
like
love
the magic
that.
keepers.
Cool. I feel like having like the staff. This is where we stand.
This is what
There
we
you go.
stand for.
There you go.
You got to stand for something, right?
And with that, everyone,
stay magical.
You've been listening to our Daily Magic Podcast with Kai and Dell. Please like, subscribe, and tune in next week for another magical episode. Visit www.ourdailymagic.com for more. Thank you for listening and have a magical day.